2 years ago on January 31st, the Knicks did the unthinkable and traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Mavs. JJ, how have your feelings about that deal changed in the last 24 months?
Well, I got to own this. I was very critical, Eamon, of the New York Knickerbockers when they made that trade. I mean, because I thought they didn't get much in return. But here's the bottom line. We haven't seen a whole lot of Kristaps Porzingis. So from a Knicks standpoint, I can't roast them, Sal, the way I would have maybe thinking a year ago that this guy was going to be, a 24-point scorer, a 10, 11 board type of guy. You got to be available in the NBA. And right now, the Knicks, I'm not saying they should be taking bows for the trade that they made, but it doesn't look as catastrophic as maybe I once thought.
Well, that's because the Knicks are playing well. They now have a foundation with Tom Thibodeau here playing hard both ends of the floor. It kind of makes you forget about that. But I remember that day vividly in the SNY newsroom, back when we were going into work. And I remember seeing that news, being in shock and being infuriated with how could they trade the one guy that they actually drafted that can play. Now, you can question whether he's going to be hurt or how impactful he'll be if he could ever, be healthy consistently. But he is a scorer, and it's not like the Knicks couldn't use that. Now, because they've had a nice run here, because they have some players, you kind of forget about that, and you're thinking, okay, well, they have the cap space, which led to Randall, who's a nice player, which led to Morris, which eventually led to Quickly. You like where they're at right now, so there's no need to look back and rehash the trade. At the time, though, make no mistake, that was a disaster of a trade. Not as bad as we thought, as it turns out, but at the time, it was awful.
Well, Sal, we don't have to rehash the trade, but I will bring you back and kind of the disappointment that here was a quote-unquote homegrown product that, everyone grew to love here in New York, and it didn't work out. I mean, still, I think the Knick fan wonders what could have been if he could have stayed healthy and really taken over this city.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it. And remember, too, Eamon, his skill set in today's NBA, because the Knicks are playing old school basketball right now. People love that, but the style of play is exactly what you want. Porzingis, a big guy who could shoot from outside. He could light it up. He's a scorer. That's something that they need, a homegrown guy who never really, with the Phil Jackson stuff and just the stuff with his brother, it was never really a clean, fresh start for him. And unfortunately, the one star they had, they traded him and ended up with nothing when they missed out on Durant and Kyrie Irving.
And, fellas, I got to admit, I thought KP was going to light it up in Dallas. You put him alongside Luka. You put him in a good organization. But it just goes to show you, if you can't stay on the court and play, does not matter how much talent you have or who you're playing with, not going to be successful.